This is the immortal jellyfish. Yeah, you may have heard of it, seen it online. There are even claims that it's been found off the coast of Australia. But is it really immortal? Hi, I'm here to tell you about our expedition to try and find one. I am an ichthyologist who studies fishes and fisheries around Australia. And today we're going offshore from the harbor in this little boat here to try and catch one of these mythical creatures. These things are also known as bluebottles. They get their name because when they wash up on shore, they make these little clicking noises as they crawl along the beach. I guess that's where the clicking in the name comes from. There are actually 3 different species of immortal jellyfish. The one that we're hoping to see today is called Turritopsis dohrnii. It was discovered in 1880, and it was thought to be just another boring moon jelly. Moon jellies are very common. We have them all over the world. They look like, a typical jellyfish. A sort of transparent bell with trailing tentacles. What makes this species different is its life cycle. Jellyfish have a life cycle that alternates between having eggs and sperm, producing offspring, and then going through a series of developmental stages before turning into an adult. What is unique about this species is that it can revert back in its life cycle at any time by turning its eggs and sperm back into polyps. And this is what makes it potentially immortal. So if an individual reaches a certain age and decides it wants to start again, it can actually turn back into a very young form and live on forever. So this is what we're trying to find. The other 2 species of immortal jellyfish are larger and live much deeper in the ocean. One of them lives in Japan, and the other one is found in the Mediterranean. This one is the only one that we've actually managed to breed in captivity. And this was done in 2009, so we know that it's possible to keep them alive in a lab setting. They live in these huge tanks of seawater at a university in Japan. We know that they eat plankton and small fish, and in return, they get eaten by sea turtles and some larger fish. We're not sure how old they can live for in the wild. It could be hundreds of years. And they seem to be able to shrink themselves down to a tiny size and regerminate over and over again. If it is a truly immortal animal, then there must be one around here, because this is one of the few places in the world where it has been recorded. Unfortunately, we didn't see any today. It's actually quite hard to spot these. They're quite small. They're about this big. They're also clear, so they're very hard to see. Sometimes you can see a little bit of color in their bells, but most of the time they're completely clear. They tend to wash up on shore in big storms. And we've actually had reports from fishermen who have caught them in their nets. And these are deep water fishermen. They're fishing in about 2,000 meters of water. So it is quite incredible to think that they can live at those depths and then just come up to the surface and wash up on shore. Jellyfish have stinging cells. They're called nematocysts. They actually inject a venom into you. And in some of the bigger jellyfish, these cells can be up to 6 inches long. So you can imagine if you were to brush past one of these on the beach, you'd definitely feel it. The good news is that the immortal jellyfish is relatively small, only about 1 inch or 2 in diameter. So although it does sting, it's not a particularly dangerous sting. It's just very painful. So if you do see one on the beach, don't pick it up. Just leave it alone. If you really want to help, you could put it back in the ocean. But otherwise, let nature take its course and leave it there to decompose. I'd love to go back out and see one of these. It would be amazing to find one, but I'm not sure I'll ever get the chance. So maybe next time I'll bring a spear gun.